Chosen one, sit here with me for a moment, as if we were two long-time friends sent to the same table by heaven. You have carried so much for so many years, queuing your own pain at the end of the line so that everyone around you could be okay. And now God is gently reaching for the cord of your story and saying, I am resetting everything from the beginning. This is not a reset of punishment. It is not God erasing you. It is God erasing the labels, the accusations, the heavy programming that life, people, and disappointments wrote over your heart. Think of it like a divine factory setting, the you that he dreamed before the betrayals, before the words that broke your self-esteem, before the tiredness of always being strong for everyone else. Tonight, you are not here by chance. Something greater than you pulled you to this message because your soul knows it cannot continue loaded the way it has been. As your friend, let me tell you this with all the tenderness in the world, nothing that made you cry alone in the bathroom, nothing that you had to swallow to avoid conflict, nothing that you lived in silence, went unnoticed by God. He saw when you had to be the adult, even as a little girl, when you were blamed for what was not your fault, when you were made to feel like a burden just for existing. And now, in this season, he's not only comforting you, he is rewriting the internal codes that made you think you deserved so little. A reset to factory settings means taking you back to the identity of beloved daughter, not servant of everyone's chaos. Not emotional trash can of the family, not the strong one who never breaks. It means you beginning to see yourself with the eyes of the one who created you, and not with the distorted mirrors that life placed in front of you. You know those days when you look around your life and feel as if everything was out of place, like a house after a big move where nothing is where it should be? That is how your inner world has felt for a long time. Drawers full of unresolved memories. Shelves with promises you stopped believing in. Boxes of pain pushed to the back so you would not trip on them. What God is doing now is gently entering this house with you, turning on the lights, opening the windows and saying, we are going to put this in order together, without hurry and without condemnation. As your friend, sitting here by your side, the first thing to say is this: you do not have to be ashamed of the mess, because he already knew everything before you invited him in. The fact that you are here listening already shows that your heart is tired of living in emotional clutter and ready for a new beginning. Think of women like Naomi, who said that her life had become bitter and that everything good had been taken from her. And yet God was already preparing a path of redemption through Ruth, quietly, step by step. Think of Hannah, who cried in the temple, misunderstood even in her pain, but whose tears were turning into a prophetic reset for an entire generation through the son she would still carry. These stories are not fairy tales. They are signs that heaven specializes in taking lives that seem used up and returning them to the original plan with even more depth and meaning. When God resets, he does not take you back to zero in loss. He takes you back to zero in identity, but carries forward all the wisdom, sensitivity, and compassion you gained along the way. You do not lose your story. You gain a new way of carrying it. If, while you hear these words, something inside you sighs in relief, stay here. Do not rush away from this moment like you usually rush away from your own needs. This is a safe space between you, God, and a friend who understands that being a woman of your age, with your history, is not easy. Let this be the beginning of the reset, the simple decision to remain present, to allow yourself to be comforted, to accept that you also deserve a soft place to rest your soul. From here on, every minute will be an invitation for you to hand over one more weight, one more guilt, one more fear, and allow heaven to take you slowly back to factory settings, where you are always loved, always wanted, and always enough. Chosen one, if you are here in this second moment, it is because something in your heart recognized that this reset is exactly what you have needed for a very long time. You have spent years trying to hold everything together for everyone else, quietly believing that if you ever stopped, everything around you would collapse, and somewhere along that path, you slowly forgot yourself. As a friend sitting right beside you, the first thing to tell you is this: You were not created to live in emergency mode all the time. God did not design you only to be the one who supports everyone. He is calling you back to the center of what he dreamed when he first thought about you. This reset God is doing is not erasing who you are. It is cleaning off what was never meant to stick to you in the first place. Guilt that was not yours. Impossible expectations, harsh words that you ended up believing. It is as if he was saying, my daughter, we are going to turn off these programs that make you feel less, that make you think it is too late, that make you swallow your tears and smile on the outside while you are breaking on the inside. And as your friend, here next to you, the reminder is simple and true. You are not too much, you are not too broken, you are not too late. You are tired, and God looks at that tiredness with tenderness, not with criticism. Think about Ruth for a moment. A widow, a foreigner, with no visible guarantees about her future, bending down in the fields just to gather leftovers and survive. To many people, her life looked like it had already broken, as if there was no point investing in her story anymore. Yet God was quietly resetting her route step by step. Every simple day, every ordinary movement was guiding her toward a place she could not even imagine. With you it is similar. On the outside it may look like nothing much has changed yet. But inside, God has already begun to reach into deep configurations. The way you see yourself, the way you allow others to treat you, the way you speak to your own soul every single day. Now let this be a very gentle request from one friend to another. Do not walk away from this process. If you felt even a small breath of relief, a shiver, a quiet desire to cry, or that thought, this is talking about me, stay. Allow this conversation to keep working inside of you. If it makes sense to your heart, sometime today say softly to God, thank you for not giving up on me. Value Dime. It is not a magic phrase. It is a tender way of recognizing that, in spite of everything, He is still here, pulling you back to the original settings of heaven. From here on, as you keep listening, you will notice how God begins to touch very specific memories, specific relationships, old decisions you made just to survive. It is not to condemn you. It is to free you. It is like having a dear friend helping you empty an old drawer, item by item with patience, without shaming you for anything you've stored there. And if, in the middle of all this, your heart whispers once more, Lord, for all this care, value Dime, let it come out. Every time you do, another piece of the old system loses strength, and the reset of God gains a little more space inside you. Chosen one, if you're still here, it already says so much about the courage inside you. Many people turn away when something starts to touch places they kept hidden for years, but you stayed, and that speaks louder in heaven than you imagine. You have carried responsibilities, secrets, disappointments, and silent fears for so long that being strong almost became your automatic setting, even when everything inside you was begging for rest. Now, this reset that God is doing is like someone lovingly placing a hand on your shoulder and saying, you do not have to live on survival mode anymore, my daughter. I am here to take you back to how I dreamed you, before the world tried to rewrite you. There is something very special about this moment in your journey. You are no longer trying to fix yourself alone. For years, you tried to change by force, by guilt, by comparison, promising that this time you would handle things better, that this time you would not break, that this time you would not cry. But heaven is offering you a different way, not you changing yourself from the outside in, but God resetting you from the inside out. It is like when a tired device freezes because so many things are running at once. The only way to restore it is to close everything and restart from the original design. That is what is happening in your soul. God is not discarding you. He is gently closing what drains you and reopening what truly belongs to who you are in Him. As your friend, there is something very clear in this season. You are allowed to be taken care of too. You are not only the one who prays for others, listens to others, gives to others, covers others. You are also the woman whose heart deserves to be held, whose tears deserve a shoulder, whose tiredness deserves understanding. God is not disappointed that you are exhausted. He understands exactly why you got this tired, and He is not here to accuse you of weakness. He is here to say, you were never meant to carry this much alone. This reset is also a redistribution of weight. Some burdens will simply no longer fit on your shoulders, because heaven is reclaiming what never belonged to you in the first place. Think again about women like Naomi, Ruth, Hannah, Esther, Mary, the Samaritan woman at the well, the woman with the issue of blood. None of them came to God with a perfect life. They came with bitterness, loss, waiting, fear, confusion, and shame. Yet, in the hands of God, every painful chapter became raw material for a divine restart. Naomi thought she was finished, but God was beginning a lineage of redemption through her family. Ruth thought her life was reduced to surviving day by day, but God was writing her into a new story of honor and restoration. Hannah thought her tears were a sign of failure, but in heaven they were the seeds of a prophetic answer. When God resets, He does not ignore the past. He transforms it into testimony. Inside this reset, there is a very intimate work happening. God is touching the way you talk to yourself. For a long time, your inner voice learnt to be harsh. I am so stupid. I always ruin everything. I should have known better. Of course it went wrong. It's me. These phrases became like background noise, so constant that you almost stopped noticing them. But heaven notices. This season, God is gently interrupting that inner dialogue and replacing it with something truer. You are learning. You are loved. You are not a burden. You are allowed to start again. The more you agree with this new voice, the more the old programming loses its power over you. You may notice that certain memories are resurfacing now. Moments from your childhood, from relationships, from family situations you tried to forget. Do not be afraid when that happens. It is not God reopening wounds just to make you suffer. It is Him cleaning them properly so that they finally heal. Imagine two friends sitting together with an old box of letters, some painful, some beautiful, some confusing. They do not rush. They read, they cry, they laugh, they release. That is what heaven is doing with you. Not accusing you for what you lived, but sitting beside you while the past is seen with truth and kindness. What was once a source of shame can become a place of wisdom and compassion. If, while you listen, you feel that mix of sadness and relief, that sensation of this hurts, but it is exactly what I needed. Stay. Do not run away from this tenderness. This is what real healing often feels like. Your heart finally having permission to feel what it had to numb so many times. If it makes sense to you now, you can whisper from where you are, Lord, thank you for going this deep with me. Value Deme. That simple phrase, said honestly, is like opening another window inside your heart, letting fresh air in where everything used to feel closed and heavy. From this point on, your reset will also begin to show up in small choices. You may find yourself saying no to situations that once drained you without feeling as much guilt. You may feel led to rest earlier, to eat differently, to speak more kindly to yourself, to step away from conversations that always left you feeling small. You may notice that some people do not understand the new boundaries you are learning to set, and that is okay. You're not being rude. You're finally learning that your peace matters too. Heaven is not asking you to become cold. Heaven is inviting you to become whole. And as your friend, one more thing needs to be said. You are not behind. You are right on time for what God wants to do with you now. Every delay you suffered, every detour you took, every year you think you lost, can still be used by God in a way that nothing was truly wasted. The important thing is not how fast you walk from here. It is that you keep walking. One honest prayer at a time, one healthy choice at a time, one new thought at a time. You are stepping into a life where you no longer just react to pain, but respond to love. If your heart is still here, leaning in, Let that be your answer to heaven. You do not need fancy words. Your presence in this moment already speaks loudly. Just breathe slowly. Put a hand over your chest if you can, and think, even if silently, I accept this reset. I accept being loved like this. I accept starting again. This is how the new chapter begins, not with noise, but with a quiet, courageous yes inside your soul. Chosen one, if you are still walking with this message, heaven is treating your persistence like a precious seed that will not be wasted. You could have scrolled away, distracted your mind, anesthetized your heart again, but instead you chose to stay. And that single decision already marks this season as different from the others. You are not just listening to something nice. You are allowing God to sit beside you like a trusted friend who knows the weight of your years, the marks on your heart, and the thoughts you never dared to say out loud. This reset is not a theory anymore. It is becoming a living experience inside you, one gentle word at a time. There is a kind of tiredness that does not show on the face, a weariness of the soul that only God and you truly know. You have been that person who keeps functioning no matter what, who continues to cook, to work, to help, to answer messages, even on days when you felt like lying down and never getting up again. On the outside, people see someone strong. On the inside, you often saw someone on the edge. In this moment, heaven is not asking you to pretend you are okay. Heaven is giving you permission to feel how heavy it has been and to bring that weight out of hiding. As your friend, the message to your heart is simple. You do not shock God. Nothing about you is too much for him. This reset also touches the way you think about your story's value. For a long time, you may have believed that your life is made only of normal things, nothing special, nothing that heaven would use in a big way. But look at how God has always moved. Naomi, Ruth, Hannah, Esther, Mary, the Samaritan woman. The woman with the issue of blood, each one of them lived very human, complicated, imperfect lives. Their pain was ordinary, like yours. Their days were full of simple tasks, like yours. Yet heaven stepped into their ordinary and revealed that nothing in their journey was random. The same is true for you. Every night you cried quietly. Every time you forgave without an apology. Every time you kept walking with a broken heart. All of that is known, counted, and now being gently gathered into God's hands. There is a moment in every reset where the old system starts to resist. You might notice old thoughts trying to come back even stronger. I am silly for believing this. Nothing really changes for me. I am just being emotional. Soon I will be back to the same place. When these phrases show up, do not panic. It does not mean that nothing is happening. It means your inner patterns are realizing they are losing their throne. Instead of fighting those thoughts with anger, answer them with calm truth. No, I am allowed to change. No, I am not being silly for hoping again. No, this is not just emotion. Something real is happening inside me. You are learning to be a better friend to your own soul. In this part of the journey, God also starts to bring light to your relationships, not to embarrass you, but to protect you. You may begin to see more clearly which connections drain you and which ones bring life. You may remember words that were spoken over you that still echo today, shaping how you see yourself. Heaven is not asking you to start a war with anyone. Heaven is inviting you to recognize with honesty what has been harmful to your heart so that you can stop agreeing with it. Resetting to factory settings means this: only what God originally said about you gets to stay. Voices that called you too much, not enough. Late, problem, burden are losing their legal place in your identity. If, at some point while you hear this, your chest tightens, tears come to your eyes, or a quiet heat rises inside, do not ignore it. Talk to God in your own words, as if talking to the closest friend. And if it feels natural, let this sentence come from deep within. Lord, for not letting me go, for speaking to me like this, value de me. There is something powerful when gratitude flows from pain. It does not deny the wounds, but it recognizes that even in the middle of them, God has not abandoned you. That value de me is not for show. It is a small, intimate thank you that seals in your spirit what your mind is still learning to understand. From here on, your reset will become visible in subtle, beautiful ways. You may catch yourself being a little kinder in the way you speak to yourself after a mistake. You may feel less pressure to please everyone and more peace in saying, I can't right now, or I need a moment. You may start noticing small joys that used to pass unnoticed. A quiet morning, a warm cup of coffee, a message from someone who cares. A memory that no longer hurts as much. These may seem like tiny things, but in the kingdom of God, they are signs. The system of constant self-punishment is losing space, and the system of grace is taking root. And, as your friend who is walking this with you through every word, one more truth needs to be spoken into your heart. You are worth this work. You are worth this attention. You are worth this care. God is not investing in you out of obligation. He is investing in you out of love. You are not just one more person in a crowd. You are a specific daughter with a specific history and a specific future. As you keep going, remember this. The same God who is resetting you from the inside will also take care of the outside timing, doors, answers, directions. Your role is to keep saying yes, one day at a time, one honest prayer at a time, one gentle thought at a time. And in this yes, your new life, back to the true factory settings of heaven, is quietly and beautifully beginning. Chosen one, the fact that you are still here says a lot about the strength that lives inside you, even on the days when you feel the weakest. You have walked through so many invisible storms, keeping yourself standing for others when, deep down, you did not even know how you were still on your feet. This journey of reset is not about ignoring everything you lived. It is about finally letting God walk back through those rooms of your story with you, turning on the light where you learned to live in the dark. As a friend sitting right next to you, the first thing to say in this moment is simple and true. You are not too broken to start again. And you are not too late for what heaven still wants to write with your life. There is a very sacred work happening now in the way you see your own worth. For years, a part of you believed that your value was in what you did for others, in how useful you could be, in how much you could endure without complaining. You became the one who listens, the one who helps, the one who adjusts, the one who swallows the pain so that the environment stays peaceful, even if that peace costs you pieces of yourself. In this season, God is taking you gently by the hand and saying, you are not just what you give. You are who I say you are. Resetting your life to factory settings means restoring the truth that your value is not in your performance, but in your identity as a loved daughter. Sometimes you may look at your reflection and see only the traces of fatigue, lines that tell stories, eyes that have seen too much, a body that has carried more than anyone knows. But heaven looks and sees glory in those traces, beauty in that history, courage in the fact that you are still here, breathing, walking, listening. When God resets, He is not trying to turn you back into a younger version of yourself. He is revealing the truest version of you, wiser, deeper, more compassionate, more aware. You are not going backwards. You are moving into a more authentic you, one that does not have to hide behind masks of strength or smiles that hurt to hold. In this fifth moment of your journey, something very important is being reprogrammed. The way you relate to your own needs. You spent so long pushing them aside that sometimes you feel guilty just for wanting to rest, to be quiet, to say, I can't today. But this reset is teaching you that your needs do not make you weak. They make you human. God is not rolling His eyes because you are tired, is opening His arms. He is not disappointed that you feel afraid sometimes. He understands exactly why you feel that way. The invitation now is to treat yourself with the same patience and tenderness you have always offered to others. as if you were finally becoming your own best friend. There will be days in this process when old patterns try to drag you back. You will catch yourself apologizing for things that are not your fault, accepting words that hurt you just to avoid trouble, or saying yes when every part of you is screaming no. When that happens, do not condemn yourself. Notice it as a sign that the old system is still trying to survive. In those moments, imagine God putting a gentle hand on your shoulder and whispering, "You are allowed to choose differently this time." Take a breath, slow down, and ask yourself, what would I tell a dear friend in this situation? Then, as much as you can, give that same advice to yourself. This is how the reset becomes practical, real, and daily. Think for a moment about how Jesus treated the women he met. He listened to their stories without rushing, called them daughter, defended them in public, restored their dignity in front of those who judged them. He never said they were too much, never told them to hide their pain, never called them a burden. The same heart that moved toward them is moving toward you now. If he walked into your room today, he would not point at your failures. He would point at your survival, your resilience, your heart that still loves after everything it has suffered. He would sit with you, like a friend, and remind you that every tear you shed is counted. Every sigh is heard, and every step you take in this reset matters. If, while you listen, you feel a strange mixture of relief and sadness, a sense that this is exactly what I needed and at the same time it hurts to touch, know that this is often what real healing feels like. You are not breaking. You are softening after years of being hardened by necessity. You are not losing control. You are allowing yourself to be held. And if it feels natural now, let a simple, sincere phrase rise from your heart toward God. Thank you for not giving up on me. Thank you for treating me with this much care, value de me. Even whispered, that gratitude becomes like a gentle seal over this moment, saying, I see what you are doing in me, and I receive it. From here forward, your reset will start to show up in very specific small shifts. You might notice that you stop repeating certain destructive sentences about yourself. You may feel a quiet courage to protect your peace, even if that means disappointing someone who is used to your constant availability. You may begin to choose rest without asking for permission, to enjoy little things without feeling guilty, to let yourself be loved without always feeling you must earn it. These are not insignificant details. They are signs that heaven's hand is on the controls of your life, gently turning off what destroys you and turning on what brings you back to who you really are. And as your friend walking with you through every word, here is one last truth for this moment. You are allowed to be hopeful about your future again. Not naive, not blind, but hopeful. The same God who is carefully resetting your inner world is more than capable of touching your outer world family. Health, finances, direction, open doors. You do not need to know how he will do it. You only need to keep saying yes to the process, one day at a time. So breathe, place a hand over your heart if you can, and let your soul say quietly, I choose to continue. I choose to believe that my story is not over. I choose to walk in this reset. You are not alone in this. Heaven is watching, cheering, and moving on your behalf, even in the places you cannot see yet. Chosen one, if you are here in this final stretch, heaven is looking at your perseverance with so much tenderness. You have walked through every word, allowed deep places in your heart to be touched, and even when it felt intense or uncomfortable, you did not run away like other times in your life when things started to get too close to your truth. This alone already marks a new season. You are no longer just surviving, you are allowing yourself to be transformed. You are not merely listening to a message. You are letting God and a friend sit with you in the most intimate rooms of your story. And that has real weight in the spiritual realm. Right now, imagine that your life is in front of you like a long timeline. Childhood, youth, relationships, mistakes, victories, traumas, silent seasons, small joys. For many years you looked at that line feeling that some parts were ruined beyond repair, as if the best God could do was help you endure until everything was over. But this reset is a declaration that heaven does not see you like that. God is not just patching up a broken life. He is taking you back to the original intention of his heart, while using every chapter, good and bad, as raw material for something beautiful and meaningful. Nothing is wasted. Not the tears, not the pauses, not even the days when you felt numb and thought you had no more strength to feel anything. In this moment, God is not only healing memories, he is also speaking over your future. He is stepping into your next days, months, and years with you, as if walking ahead along the path and gently removing stones and traps you cannot see. There will still be challenges. This is not a promise of a life without problems, but you will not face them as the same woman. You will face them as someone who has learned to be kinder to herself, who understands that her needs matter, who knows that she is not alone in the dark. The reset to factory settings means that every time life tries to push you back into old identities, burden, problem, too late to emotional, you will have an inner reference point that says, "No, I know who I am in God now. I have walked too far to go back to that." Let this be the moment where you receive with intention a decree over your life. As your friend, these are the kinds of truths I would love for you to speak out loud, even if softly, right where you are. Say in your own words that you do not agree anymore with the idea that your life is a mistake. Say that you embrace the reset God is doing from the inside out. Say that you believe there are still good surprises ahead, even if you do not know how they will come. Say that you release the weight of carrying everyone and everything alone, and that you are willing to learn how to walk lighter, more loved, more aware of God's presence in each step. Your voice matters. Your agreement matters. Heaven hears every simple sentence you dare to speak in faith. Over this, receive a gentle prophecy for your journey. In the coming days, you will begin to notice a new awareness of God in your daily life. It may be a peace that appears in the middle of a situation that used to make you panic. It may be strength to say no where you always said yes out of fear. It may be doors that open slowly, opportunities that did not exist before, or reconciliations you did not expect. It may be simply that you wake up one morning and realize that the heaviness in your chest is a little lighter than it used to be. These are not coincidences. They are signs that the reset is active, that heaven is honoring your yes, that your life is being rewired from despair to hope. If, right now, your eyes are wet, your heart is soft, or you feel a mix of exhaustion and relief, do not push it away. This is what it looks like when a strong woman finally allows herself to be held. Put your hand over your heart if you can, and breathe slowly. In your own language and in your own tone, tell God that you receive everything He has been doing in you through this journey. Tell Him that you give Him your past, your present, and your future. And if it rises from deep inside, let that intimate, simple phrase come out one more time. For every moment you carried me when I could not carry myself. For every word that reached me exactly when I needed it. Value de me. Then, when this message ends, do not think that the reset ends with it. Walk into your next days as a woman in process, loved, accompanied, and gently, powerfully, being brought back to the beautiful factory settings of heaven. Chosen one, if you have come this far, heaven is treating your presence here as something very precious. You did not stay by accident. Something in you decided to keep walking, to keep listening, even when it touched places you usually hide. That alone already shows that this reset is real, not just a pretty idea. You are doing something that many people never allow themselves to do. You are letting God and a caring friend look at your life with honesty, tenderness, and hope at the same time. At this point, your reset is not only about what God is taking away from you, guilt, false labels, heavy expectations. It is also about what He is giving back to you. He is returning your right to feel, to rest, to be valued, to be treated with respect, to have a voice. For a long time, you got used to shrinking who you are so that others would not be uncomfortable. And you made yourself smaller, quieter, more invisible than your own soul could bear. Now heaven is gently saying, my daughter, You are allowed to take up space. You are allowed to be here. You are allowed to exist without apologizing for every step you take. This is part of the factory setting. You were never meant to live begging for the right to simply be. Look at how far you have come just inside this journey. You have faced old memories. You have questioned old beliefs. You have allowed tears and sighs that you had been holding back for years. That is not weakness. That is courage. It takes much more strength to feel and heal than to numb and ignore. You may not see all the results yet, but deep inside, structures are shifting. Your inner voice is learning a new tone. Your heart is learning a new rhythm. Your mind is learning that it does not need to attack you every time something goes wrong. Heaven is not rushing you. Heaven is walking at your pace, celebrating every small yes you give. From here, God also begins to touch how you dream about the future. Maybe you had quietly decided to expect little, just so you would not be disappointed again. Maybe you convinced yourself that your role now is only to watch others live, while you just get by. But this reset means that God is giving you permission to hope again, not with childish fantasy, but with mature, grounded faith. You are allowed to believe that there are still new friendships ahead, new joys, new experiences, new ways of being useful that do not drain you to the point of breaking. Your story did not shrink to what you lost. It is expanding to what you are becoming. As your friend, there is something very important to tell you in this moment. Please do not minimize what God is doing in you just because it feels quiet and gradual. Not every miracle is loud. Some miracles look like waking up and realizing you no longer hate yourself the way you did before. Some look like saying no once and feeling peace instead of crushing guilt. Some look like looking back at a memory and noticing that the pain has softened. These are holy signs. Do not call small what heaven calls sacred. Your process matters. Your healing matters. Your reset is not a performance. It is a real, loving work in progress. If right now you feel a strange mixture of tiredness, tenderness, and hope, let that be okay. Place a hand over your heart if you can. Breathe slowly and allow yourself to say, even if only in your thoughts, I see that something is changing in me. I may not understand everything, but I receive this care. I receive this new beginning. You do not have to promise that you will get everything right from now on. That is not what God is asking. What He desires is this, that you keep choosing to walk even when it is slow, that you keep choosing to come back when you feel like hiding, that you keep choosing to believe that you are worth the work He is doing. When this part of the journey closes and you go back to your routine, remember, the reset does not stay here. It goes with you. It will be there when you make dinner, when you answer a message, when you look at your reflection, when you lie down at night. In each of those moments, you will have small choices to make: how you speak to yourself, how you allow others to speak to you, how much value you give to your own peace. And every time you choose in favor of the woman God says you are, instead of the broken version life tried to impose, the factory settings of heaven get a little stronger inside you. Chosen one, if you are here at this final moment, heaven is looking at you with so much pride and tenderness. You did not just watch a video. You allowed your heart to be seen, to be touched, and to be comforted in places that had been locked for years. You stayed when it would have been easier to scroll away, to distract yourself, to push everything back down like you learned to do so many times in life. That alone already marks a turning point. This time, you did not abandon yourself. This time, you walked with God all the way to the end of what He wanted to say to you in this season. Imagine, for a moment, your whole life laid out like a long road in front of you. There are stretches of joy, stretches of pain, curves where you did not understand why things happened the way they did, and corners where you felt completely alone. For a long time, you may have looked at this road with a mix of disappointment and shame, feeling as if parts of it were wrong or wasted. But in this reset, God is gently standing beside you, looking at the same road and saying, I was there in every step, even in the ones you regret. Nothing in this path is beyond my ability to heal, restore, and use for good. He is not erasing your story. He's redeeming it. He is not pretending the hard parts did not happen. He is showing you that even from them, something new and beautiful can grow. You have heard about being taken back to factory settings, and now you are beginning to understand what that really means. It is not about going back to being naive, nor about acting as if you never lived what you lived. It is about being reconnected to the original truth of who you are in God. A loved daughter, wanted, seen, carried, with a purpose that no age, no mistake, and no loss can cancel. The world, people, and circumstances try to install many things in you: fear, shame, self-hatred, the belief that you are always too much or never enough. Heaven is turning those things off, one by one, and turning back on what always belonged to you: dignity, tenderness, courage, sensitivity, hope. From now on, your days will not suddenly become perfect, but they will carry a different meaning. There will still be moments of sadness, questions, pressures, and responsibilities. But you will not face them as the woman who thought she had to handle everything alone, or as someone who believed that her only role was to serve until nothing was left of her. You will face them as someone who knows she is allowed to rest, to ask for help, to set boundaries, to be treated with respect. You will remember that your needs do not make you weak, and that your tears do not disappoint God. On the contrary, your tears are proof that your heart is alive, and heaven treasures that. Let this final stretch be a kind of gentle decree over your life, spoken like a friend who believes deeply in you. Over your story, let it be said, you are not defined by the worst things you went through, by the hardest year you lived, or by the people who did not know how to love you. You are defined by the one who never left you, even when you thought you were completely alone. Over your heart, let it be said, from today on, you will learn to speak to yourself with more kindness, more patience, and more truth. You will not get it right every day, and that is okay. But the days of treating yourself like an enemy, those days are being challenged and slowly replaced by a new way of relating to your own soul. Over your future, let it be said, you will not walk as a woman whose only expectation is to endure to the end. You will walk as someone who believes that there are still reasons to smile, still conversations that will heal, still meetings that will lift you up, still things to learn, still beauty to experience. You may not know how doors will open, how provision will arrive, how answers will come, but you do not need to know. You only need to keep walking with the one who knows the exact path. This is not empty optimism. It is trust in a God who has already proven countless times that he kept you standing when you thought everything in you would collapse. As your friend, there is something very simple and very important to ask of you. Do not minimize what happened inside you while you were here. Just because no one else saw the tears that fell, the memories that came back, the quiet shifts in your thinking, does not mean it was small. These are holy things. These are milestones in your story. On the days when you feel tempted to say, nothing really changed, look back and remember that you stayed, that you listened, that you let God speak to you in a personal way. Remember that there were moments when the words fit your heart like a key in a lock. That is not nothing. That is grace in action. When you finish this moment and return to your routine, the reset does not stay here. It walks with you into the kitchen, into the bedroom, into conversations, into memories that will still come. You will have chances to choose differently, speaking with more gentleness to yourself, allowing rest without guilt. Saying no when your heart cannot carry one more weight, saying yes to small joys you used to ignore. Every time you choose in favor of the woman God sees when he looks at you, instead of the distorted version life tried to impose, the factory settings of heaven become stronger inside you. If right now your heart feels touched, even if you cannot put into words everything you are feeling, that is enough. Put your hand over your chest if you can, and breathe slowly. In your own language, in your own way, talk to God for a moment. You can tell him that you received this reset, that you place your past, your present, and your future in His hands. That you are tired but willing to walk with Him one day at a time. And if it rises from deep within, maybe with tears, maybe with a soft smile, let that simple phrase come out. The one that carries all your gratitude in just a few words. For all the times you held me when I thought I would not make it, for this care, for this new beginning. Value me. Then move forward, not as a woman trying to prove her worth, but as a chosen daughter who is finally learning to live from the worth she has always had.